You've been lied to, not just by the movies, the love songs, or the fairy tales you grew up with. The lie is older, subtler, woven into the fabric of your childhood. From the moment you could understand words, you were taught that a woman's love is sacred, pure, almost divine. That women are gentle creatures, immune to the darkness that festers in the male soul. You were told to worship them, to place them on a pedestal, to believe their hearts beat only for devotion. But that's the trap. That's the illusion that's been breaking men for centuries. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you gave everything to a woman, your time, your strength, your soul, only to watch her turn cold? To see her eyes dim, her warmth fade, her promises dissolve into silence? You thought it was your fault. You thought you weren't enough. But what if I told you it wasn't a mistake? What if I told you it was never about love the way you imagined it? Carl Jung, the man who dared to plumb the depths of the human psyche, saw through this lie. He called it the shadow, the primal, unconscious force that lives in every one of us, man or woman. It's not good or evil. It's raw, ancient, shaped by thousands of years of survival. And here's the truth they don't want you to know. The shadow doesn't care about gender. It doesn't care about your poems, your vows, or your dreams of forever. In women, just like in men, it's a force that selects, evaluates, and acts on instinct you can't see. Instincts that have nothing to do with the romantic ideals you've been fed. You were raised to believe women love selflessly, that their hearts are wired for unconditional devotion. But that's a story we tell ourselves to make the world feel softer. The reality? A woman's love is governed by biology, by evolution, by a calculus older than civilization. It's not about purity, it's about survival. And if you don't understand that, you're walking blind into an emotional battlefield where most men fall unarmed. Think about it. Remember that moment when everything felt perfect? She was sweet, empathetic, devoted. You thought you'd found a one. Then something shifted. Maybe you lost your job, showed vulnerability, or just stopped being the man she first met. Suddenly, you weren't enough. Her affection cooled. Her words grew sharp, or worse, she stopped speaking altogether. You replayed every moment wondering where you went wrong, but you didn't break the rules. You never knew them. Jung saw this coming. He warned us that the female psyche isn't an open book. It's a labyrinth, designed not for connection, but for survival. Her love isn't a gift. It's a transaction, unconscious, but relentless. She doesn't choose to pull away. It's her shadow at work, assessing your value, your strength, your place in her evolutionary equation. And when you no longer fit, the warmth you thought was eternal vanishes. This isn't about blame, it's about waking up. You've been sold a myth that women are above the primal forces that drive us all, but Jung's private notes, the ones they don't teach in classrooms, tell a different story. He saw the shadow in women as clearly as he saw it in men, a force that doesn't love the way you expect, that doesn't bend to your sacrifices. And if you keep believing the fairy tale, you'll keep breaking your own heart. But this is just the beginning. The truth Jung uncovered goes deeper, darker, and it's going to challenge everything you thought you knew about love. Are you ready to face it? Because once you see the shadow for what it is, there's no going back. You'll start to notice it everywhere. In her silence, in her tests, in the way she changes when you falter. And when you do, you'll realize the real question isn't why she left. It's why you didn't see it coming. Now that you've glimpsed the lie, let's go deeper. Let's talk about the shadow, the part of the psyche Carl Jung said we all carry, the part we hide even from ourselves. In men, it's the rage, the lust, the hunger for power we're taught to suppress. But in women, it's subtler, more disorienting, and far more dangerous if you don't see it coming. The female shadow isn't a villain plotting your downfall. It's an unconscious force, ancient and efficient, shaped by millennia of survival. And it's been running the show all along. You felt it. That moment when the woman you loved, the one who seemed so tender, so vulnerable, changed. Maybe it was a single glance, a cold silence, or a sudden distance you couldn't explain. You thought it was you. You thought you'd failed her. But Jung knew better. He wrote in his private notes that the female psyche isn't deceptive by choice. It's deceptive by design. Nature doesn't reward honesty. It rewards results. And for women, results mean adapting, calculating, and navigating the emotional terrain of men to secure what they need. This isn't about malice. There's no secret conspiracy. It's biology. For thousands of years, a woman's survival depended on her ability to read men, to mirror their desires, to extract stability, protection, or resources. Her shadow learned to do this without thinking, like a reflex. That's why her love feels like a promise, but acts like an assessment. The moment you stop providing, whether it's strength, direction, or security, her shadow recalibrates. You feel it in her dimmed gaze, her emotional withdrawal, the way she pulls away without a word. You can't pin it down, but you know something's wrong. That's the shadow at work. Let me paint a picture. You're with a woman who seems perfect. She laughs at your jokes, listens to your dreams, makes you feel like you're her world. Then life hits you hard. You lose your edge, show weakness, maybe lean on her for support, and instead of holding you closer, she grows distant. Her warmth fades. She starts rewriting the story of your relationship, painting you as the problem. You're left scrambling, wondering how it all fell apart. Sound familiar? That wasn't an accident. It was her shadow responding to a shift in your value. Jung called this the feminine paradox. Tenderness that masks calculation, vulnerability that manipulates, sweetness that intoxicates until it vanishes. It's not conscious. She's not sitting there plotting. Her shadow operates below awareness, which is what makes it so disorienting. One day, she's your partner. The next, she's a stranger. And you're left picking up the pieces, blaming yourself for a game you didn't know you were playing. Here's the kicker. Jung said this efficiency is why women thrive in relationships. Their shadow lets them adapt to any man, any situation, until the situation changes. When you're strong, she clings. When you falter, she retreats. Not out of cruelty, but because her instincts are wired to prioritize survival over sentiment. You've lived this. The woman who needed you at your peak vanished the moment you fell. You thought it was the exception. Jung says it's the rule. But why does it hurt so much? Because you didn't just love her. You loved the idea of her. You saw her as the answer to your longing, the embodiment of purity. And when her shadow showed its face, it didn't just break your heart. It shattered your worldview. You realized the woman you worshipped wasn't a goddess. She was human, driven by the same primal forces as you. And that truth is what Jung dared to expose. This is where it gets real. The female shadow isn't just a quirk. It's a system, a pattern that's been playing out for centuries. And if you don't understand it, you'll keep falling into the same trap, chasing a love that doesn't exist. But there's more to this story. Jung didn't just point out the problem, he uncovered why it happens and what it means for you as a man. The next piece of this puzzle is going to hit harder because it's not about her. It's about you and the illusion you've been feeding all along. Are you ready to face that mirror? You're starting to see it now, aren't you? The shadow in her, the way it moves, calculates, shifts without warning. But let's turn the lens on you for a moment, because the truth is, this isn't just about her. It's about the trap you keep falling into, the one Carl Jung called the Yanima trap. It's the reason you don't just love a woman, you love a projection, a reflection of everything you long to see. And when that reflection cracks, it's not just your heart that breaks. It's your entire sense of reality. Here's how it works. You meet a woman, and she seems perfect. She's warm, attentive, maybe even vulnerable in a way that makes you feel like her protector. You pour yourself into her, build your world around her because she feels like the missing piece. But what you don't realize is that she's not showing you her true self. She's mirroring you, reflecting back the qualities you crave: devotion, purity, depth. It's not a lie, not exactly. It's her shadow at work, instinctively adapting to hold your gaze, and you fall for it, not because you're weak, but because you're human. Jung said the Yanima is the feminine archetype in a man's psyche, his idealized vision of a woman. It's the part of you that projects divinity onto her, that sees her as an answer to your loneliness, your pain. But here's the brutal truth. You didn't fall in love with her. You fell in love with the image she created to keep you chasing. And when you change, when you stumble, show weakness, or stop being the man she first met, so does she. Her shadow senses the shift and pulls back, not out of spite, but because the role she played no longer fits. You've lived this cycle. Think about that relationship where everything felt right until it didn't. You were her hero, her rock, until life tested you. Maybe you opened up, shared your fears, thinking it would bring you closer. Instead, she grew distant. Her affection cooled. She stopped needing you. And when you tried to fix it, to be the man you thought she wanted, it only pushed her further away. You weren't enough anymore, not because you failed, but because you stopped matching the projection she mirrored. This is the Yanima trap. You love an illusion, and she plays the part until the illusion breaks. Jung said men are wired to idealize women, to see them as more than they are. But women? Their shadow is wired to respond to your strength, your utility. When you're strong, she clings, reflecting your power back to you. When you falter, she withdraws, because her instincts don't reward weakness. It's not personal, it's primal. And it's why every time you thought you'd found the one, the story ended the same way. The pain comes from realizing she didn't change, she just stopped pretending. Her shadow adjusted to the man you became, and you were left loving a ghost. You didn't lose her. You lost the version of her you created in your mind. And that's what makes it so disorienting. You're not just grieving a relationship, you're grieving a belief, the idea that love could be unconditional, that a woman could love you for your essence, not your function. But here's where it gets heavier. This cycle isn't random. It's a pattern, one Jung saw clearly. The female shadow doesn't just react. It tests you constantly, unconsciously, to see if you're worth her loyalty. And that test isn't about love. It's about something deeper, something ancient, something you've been blind to all along. The next piece of this puzzle is the invisible contract you never knew you signed, and it's going to change how you see every relationship you've ever had. Are you ready to face the terms? You're starting to piece it together. The shadow in her, the Yanima in you, the way they dance in this painful cycle. But there's a deeper layer to this, a hidden mechanism that's been running your relationships from the start. Carl Jung called it the maternal contract, but let's call it what it is, an invisible bargain, a deal you never knew you made. It's the unspoken agreement between her instincts and your love, and it's been shaping every moment of your pain. Here's the deal. A woman's love isn't a gift. It's a negotiation. Her shadow is always watching, always assessing. Can you lead? Can you provide? Can you hold steady when her chaos hits? If the answer is yes, she's yours, fiercely, passionately, like she'd never leave. But the moment the answer slips to no, the contract breaks. Her warmth fades, her loyalty fractures, and you're left wondering what you did wrong. You didn't do anything. You just didn't know the terms. Jung saw this as biology, not betrayal. For thousands of years, a woman's survival depended on choosing the right mate, someone who could protect, provide, or elevate her status. Her shadow carries that legacy, wired to evaluate your value constantly, unconsciously. It's not about her heart, it's about her instincts. And those instincts don't care about your feelings, they care about results. That's why her love feels eternal until you falter. Because it's not love the way you define it. It's a transaction, one she doesn't even know she's making. You've felt this. Remember that time you showed vulnerability? Maybe you opened up about your fears, thinking it would deepen your bond. But instead of embracing you, she judged you. Her eyes changed, her tone shifted, or she just pulled away. You thought it was a moment of connection, but her shadow saw weakness. Not because she's cruel, but because her instincts are ruthless. They're built to test your strength, to probe for cracks, to ensure you're the man she needs. This is where Jung's concept of hypergamy comes in. It's the instinctive drive to secure the best possible mate, the one who offers the most stability, status, or strength. It's not greed, it's survival, hardwired into her psyche. Every smile, every "I love you," every tender moment is layered with this unconscious calculus. When you're at your peak, her shadow sees you as the prize. But when you fall, when you lose your edge, your confidence, your purpose, her instincts recalibrate. She doesn't choose to drift, she just does. This is why love turns conditional. You've seen it. The woman who adored you when you were strong became distant when you weren't. Her affection wasn't tied to your heart, it was tied to your function. And when that function faded, so did the illusion. Jung called this the maternal contract because it mirrors a mother's instinct to protect her young. Only here, it's about protecting her future. Can you withstand her chaos? Can you lead her through the storm? If not, the contract dissolves and you feel it, not in words, but in her silence, her coldness, her sudden absence. The hardest part? She doesn't know she's doing it. Just like you don't choose to be drawn to beauty or youth, she doesn't choose to test your worth. It's automatic, primal, and that's what makes it so disorienting. Every breakup, every moment you felt not enough, every time she rewrote your history together, it wasn't random. It was the contract at work, her shadow enforcing terms you never saw. And the more you tried to please her, to fix it, the more you signaled weakness, pushing her further away. But here's the final piece. This contract isn't the end, it's the beginning. Because once you understand it, you can change the game. You can stop chasing her approval. 800 words. You've seen the shadow, the Yanima, the invisible contract. You've faced the truth about her instincts and your illusions. Now what? Do you give up on love? Do you armor yourself with resentment? No. There's a better way, a path Carl Jung laid out, one that doesn't just save you from the cycle, it transforms you. It's about becoming the unshakable man, the one who masters his own darkness, who stands firm against her tests, who doesn't chase love but commands respect. This is where you rise. Here's the core of it. Her shadow tests you because it needs to know. Can you handle her chaos? Can you stay grounded when she unravels? Can you carry her darkness without losing your light? The more you try to please her, the more you fail. The more you beg for her love, the more she withdraws. Why? Because her instincts don't respect what they can control. They yield only to what they can't bend, a man who's made peace with his own shadow. Jung called this integration. It's not about repressing your rage, your fear, your need for validation. It's about facing them, owning them, channeling them into strength. That anger you hide, turn it into discipline. That loneliness you dread, make it your freedom. That hunger for her approval, forge it into creation, purpose, power. You don't need her to complete you. You complete yourself. And when you do, something shifts. Her shadow, that ancient force that once destabilized you, starts to bend. You've seen it in glimpses. The man who doesn't react when she tests him, who stays calm when she creates chaos. He's the one she can't manipulate. The man who doesn't beg for her affection, who lives for his own mission, he's the one she chases. Why? Because her instincts crave strength, not sacrifice. But this isn't about playing games or faking confidence. It's about becoming whole. A man who's integrated his shadow doesn't need to prove himself. His presence is the proof. How do you get there? Start with your darkness. Face the parts of you you've buried, the shame, the doubt, the need to be seen. Don't run from them. Sit with them. Journal, meditate, lift weights, build something, whatever forces you to confront your edges. Then turn that raw energy into action. That rage? It's fuel for discipline. That fear of being alone? It's the spark for building a life so full you don't need her validation. The more you master yourself, the less her tests phase you. Here's what happens next. She creates chaos. You stay silent. She plays the victim. You don't yield. She withdraws. You don't chase. Not because you're cruel, but because you understand. That's not her speaking, it's her shadow. And the only way to meet it is with a presence that needs no approval. Our grandfathers knew this. They didn't make women their compass or their savior. They built lives that stood firm no matter what came. Jung proved why. If you hand your stability to her, her shadow will break you, not out of malice, but because it must. This is the man women don't just love. They transform around, not by choice, but by instinct. In the presence of the unshakable, even her shadow surrenders. You've seen him, the man who walks into a room and shifts the energy, not by shouting, but by being. He doesn't need her to feel whole. He's already there. And that's what makes him untouchable. So stop chasing love. Stop begging for scraps. Integrate your shadow. Build your strength. Live for your purpose. When you do, you won't just survive her tests. You'll transcend them. You'll become the man who doesn't seek love, but creates it. The man who doesn't ask for respect, but commands it. And in that moment, you'll realize the truth Jung left us. The only way to win isn't to change her. It's to become the man even her shadow can't break.